Hello everyone. Today I'm going to talk about using Google's GenAI SDK to play around with Gemini models. So the Gemini API is natively multimodal, meaning it can process text inputs, images, audio, video as inputs. So Gemini has four broad categories in which it divides its models. One is the Gemini Pro model. So Pro models are used, they are its like most efficient thinking models. So if you have complex tasks, you would want to use the Gemini Pro model. Then you have the Flash series. So you have Gemini Flash and Gemini Flashlight. Both are cost efficient and high performing models. So they are used for your general purpose tasks, high frequency tasks. So for your general purpose high frequency tasks, go for Gemini 2.5 Flash or Flashlight models because they are cost efficient. Then you have the Gemini Nano series, which are good for your on device tasks. Right. So, in this video, we'll start with some basic prompting examples. We'll play around with all these models, Gemini 2.5 Pro, Gemini 2.5 Flash, and Flashlight, and we'll see the differences in the response of these models. And then we will also use Google search tool with Gemini. So, let's get right into it. Okay, so the first thing is that you would need an API key to use these models. So what you will do is you can go to aistudio.google.com and click on the Get API Key option on the top. Once you click on it, it will take you to the API key page, and here you can click on Create API Key. When you click on this, it will generate an API key. Copy that API key and keep it at a safe place with you. Okay. Now for this video, I have created a notebook. You can find the link to this notebook in the description. You can follow this along with this video and you can play around with the Gemini APIs. So I'll go through this step by step. Okay. So the first thing is that you need to install the Google's GenAI Python SDK. This is a unified SDK, meaning that using this you can access the Google models. You can access various different Google models, and using the same SDK, you can also access models which are hosted in Vertex AI. So now they have created one SDK to access all your different models. So the first step is to install this Python SDK. Then the key which you have got, go to this secrets option here, give the name of the secret as Google underscore API underscore key, and add your add your key over here in the values column, and select this. So this notebook will then use your Google API key. Right. So how do you use your Google API key in the notebook is like this is the code for that. You need to do google.colab, you need to import user data, and then you do user data.get Google API key. Right. Now we are going to import the GenAI package, and we are going to do GenAI.client, and we'll pass our Google API key. So we have initialized our client with our API key. Now using this client, we can access different models. Right. So first we'll play around with the Google Gemini 2.5 Flash model. So I've given the model ID here as Gemini 2.5 Flash, and it's very easy to just access this model using client.models.generate content. You define the model ID, and then in the content is the query which you want to pass into the model. So I have used a query, why is the sky blue? Feel free to give any of your queries. Okay, this is the response which I get with the Gemini 2.5 Flash. I want to try out the Gemini 2.5 Pro model as well, just to see how does the response differ. So I choose the model ID and I play this. Client is not defined. I did not run this today. Sorry. Okay, it might take few seconds. Okay, you see the difference in the response over here. Uh, this is a fantastic question. The short answer is because of the way Earth's atmosphere scatters sunlight, but then it has given you a detailed step-by-step response and then a follow-up question. So you can see the response is like very, like it is a response from a model which has thought for it a lot, and then it has like given you a structured step-by-step response. I think the best use of this 2.5 Pro would be to ask it to, ask it a coding question like, can you give me a algorithm for binary search? Yeah. Okay, I got a 4503 unavailable. I think they have applied rate limiting to this model, so you can only send a certain number of requests per minute to these models. That's fine. We'll change it back to the Gemini 2.5 Flash, and we're gonna run this again. And you see it has given you the binary search algorithm 2.5 Flash, and it has given you the time complexity and the space complexity, and like you can go through the response yourself. So I think you can just play around with different models and how they respond. uh, I'll move on to setting of the temperature. So temperature is one of the configurations using which you can set the randomness uh, in the LLM. So basically, if you want the model to be more creative, you can increase the temperature value. If you want the model to stick to fact-based response, or like be less creative, be to the point, give like same response, then you would wanna set the temperature to a lower value. So we'll see it over here. What I've done over here is I've given it a query that give me a numbered list of cat facts. Okay, and our temperature is 1.9. We'll just change the value and see how the response varies. Right. So okay, so with the temperature value is 1.9, it says they use their whiskers to navigate and to feel the world around them. Uh, Cats sleep on average 12 to 6 hours per day. These are like all right. Let me increase this to, let's say, 2.5, and let's see how the response is now. Okay, what happened? Oh, the value is between 0 to 2. My bad. So we'll keep it 1 and see how it responds. Cat make 100 different sounds. They sleep 12 to 16 hours a day. They use whiskers as sensory tools. Okay, the response is not that different. Yeah, you see, you get a different, a more creative version when you set the temperature value as 2. Whiskers are more than just cute. They are highly sensitive sensory tools. They help cats navigate, determine if they can fit through small spaces. Okay, that's cool. So you can play around with the temperature setting. You can also set the max output token. This is like the maximum token which the LLM will generate in its output response. So once it reaches 2000, it will just stop. So be cautious of what value you're providing in the max output tokens. Same as with the stop sequence. So if the LLM generates this token, that means it's a stop. It will not generate any more tokens after this. So usually if you want the LLM to generate just one sentence, you can just give a full stop as a stop sequence over here, and then it will just give you one sentence. So right now, because we want to limit it to five facts, we are giving the stop sequence as 6. Okay, cool. Moving on to creating chats using Gemini models and using the chat module which the SDK has. So you can have a multi-turn interaction using this chat module. You will instantiate a chat by doing client.chats.create. You create a chat with the model ID. Our model ID is 2.5 flash. Okay, and then you just send in a response. In one sentence, explain how computer works to a young child. Okay, I'll run this. Okay, so it gave you a response that it is a super fast helper that follows your instruction to show you fun things, play games, and help you learn. Then you can get the history of messages. So it is, you see the category that the user asked this question and the model responded with this. Now we'll continue the conversation. So we'll say, okay, how about a more detailed explanation to a high schooler? Right, so now you see it has given a slightly modified version, slightly advanced response to the previous one. Right, what you can also do here is, okay, you can also test like the memory, how the memory works. So you can say, hey, I am a software engineer, working on Python, would love some cool project ideas, right? Okay, so it has given me some cool ideas for Python. I'm not getting into the response of this, but what I would wanna see is, does it capture this in the chat history? So you see in the chat history, you have all these messages and the output. Let's ask it another question. Okay, what do you know about me? Okay, so if you see over here, it says that based on our current conversation, you're a software engineer, you work with Python, you're looking for cool projects. So it has memory implemented inbuilt. You don't have to do anything. You just have to create a chat instance and then just add your input and the output, your user query and the response to it, and it will manage everything for you. All right, moving on to using images in the prompts. So here we'll download an image from this URL and pass it into the prompt. So let me run this. So we downloaded that image into this image.jpg and we are now going to open the image. So this is the image and we are going to ask Gemini. We are going to ask Gemini some information related to this image. So this is the prompt which I'm going to give. This image contains a sketch of potential product along with some notes. Given the product sketch, describe the product as thoroughly as possible based on what you see in the image, making sure to note all of the product features. Return output in the JSON format. So I'm telling it to return me output in this format. So I need a description attribute and I need features as a list. Okay, so let's give this a try. Did I run this? I ran this. Okay. Okay, so you see it has given the description that the project is conceptualized as jetpack backpack designed to resemble a normal backpack while incorporating propulsion capabilities. It is described as lightweight and capable of fitting an 18-inch laptop, suggesting a practical size for daily use. and then it has captured these features as a list over here as well. So if you see, all of this are mentioned over here, so it is good at reading the text as well, and it was able to figure out the backpack and this drawing, steam powered green clean. I think that's the propulsion thing. Okay, moving on. Let's move on to how to integrate this with how to integrate the Google search tool. So in the previous prompt, in the contents, we have passed the prompt and the image. Okay, moving on to the Google search. How to use Google search with the GenAI SDK. Okay, so coming on to the Google search, the LLMs by default don't have access to internet, right? They only have access to the information on which it has been trained on. So if I ask Gemini, what is the latest on Wimbledon? And if I just comment this out, it won't be able to answer it. So let's just run this query. It's gonna error out because I don't think the response will come in this format. So just let me comment this out. Okay. So you see the response. It says as of late May 2024, Wimbledon has not started yet. Now let's pass the Google search tool. Okay, and let me uncomment everything. And now let's see how Gemini responds. So this now the model will figure out that it doesn't have that information and it might need to use the Google search tool to access the internet and find the information. So it uses the Google search tool and responds. You see, the Wimbledon 2025 championship is currently underway. It started on 30th June, concluding on July 13th, and then it has some key updates on it. Now, this is the response which the LLM has obviously modified in a natural, in a human way, and then it has responded it back. But it also generates this grounding metadata. So let's just look at what this grounding metadata looks like. Or if you want, we can actually just print out the response to go through what all it generates, what all metadata it generates. So let's just do this response and then I'll run it again. Okay, so you see the response. The response has one, like the text which it has generated. So it fetched the information from the Google pages and then it has summarized and generated this text, right? Then it also generates this metadata. In this metadata is the grounding chunk. So it has these web URIs which it has searched, and then it has the queries as well. Let me just go back up. Yeah, so it generates this grounding metadata. It has the web search queries. So what queries it searched for, you can look into that. Plus it also generates an HTML. So basically how the search would look like, you can actually, yeah, so this is what it searched for, and this is the HTML for the search. So it generates that as well. So what you can do with this is you can actually use this in your responses in your application when you are using Gemini APIs to ground your response with with the facts. So basically you can link the responses. The model can tell you that I have fetched this information from this link, and then you can link it to the source of it, like you see it in any chat applications, be it Gemini, ChatGPT, Claude, or any other applications. So you can use the metadata to do that for you. Okay, moving on. Now, how do you use search and chat? So we created a simple chat application on the top. We'll just see how to use search in your chat. Okay, so the response which was generated using the Google search tool had few important attributes. One was this parts attribute, which has your, the summarized text. Then we have something called as finished reason. So finished reason is basically like when you're generating a response from the model, if the response is generating like if it is a tool call response, the finished reason would be tool call. And if it is processing a tool's response and it is done processing with the request, it gives the finished reason as stop. So here the finished reason is stop. We would need this. Then we would need some values from the grounding metadata. So we have created a helper function to fetch these values. So if you go here, one is show parts. So here, we are fetching the parts. We are basically reading the JSON, fetching the parts, and then from there we are fetching the print reason and printing it. And then we, if there is any executable code, then we are just displaying it using the markdown function. We are displaying the executable code in it. Right, so this helper function might be helpful. Now, again, the chat, we are instantiating a movie chat over here. So we have done client.chats.create, same flash model ID, and then in tools we are passing Google search as tool. Okay, and we are asking it generate some Python code to plot the runtimes of 10 more recent Denis Villeneuve movies. So it has fetched the runtime for 10 most recent Denis Villeneuve movies. And here is the Python code to generate the plot, right? Now, okay, we are just extracting out the code and we are just printing the code here, and then this line is actually executing your code, so it generates the plot. So the code which was generated in the previous response, we just get the code from the response and then just execute it to generate the plot. Right, now you can continue the conversation and then you can ask the model, can you give me chart, give the chart a dark theme instead. So right now it's light theme, I want it to generate a dark theme. So I run this is going to generate another script for us, and then we are going to extract the script, run it, and generate the dark themed plots. Okay, so give that a try yourself and let me know in the comments if you face any issues. And I'll be talking about how to use the multimodal live API in the next video. So stay tuned till then. Bye.